He was the fastest fighter the world had ever seen. Yet he battled a secret that could have ended his career before it began. One leg was shorter than the other, and his eyesight was terrible. This is the untold story of how Bruce Lee transformed his greatest weaknesses into his most legendary strengths. Subscribe now and hit the bell, because every story we share is designed not just to perfect your English, but to unlock the warrior within you. This is the story of a man who was faster than your eyes could see. A man whose punch could send shock waves through the air. This is the story of a man who changed the world with his bare hands, his brilliant mind, and his powerful belief in himself. He became a legend of martial arts, a famous actor, a deep philosopher, and a true warrior. His name is Bruce Lee. You might know him from his incredible fight scenes in movies, or maybe his famous flying kick. But I promise you, his real story, his real life is even more powerful than any movie he ever made. In this story today, I will tell you everything about him. Every detail, every secret, every moment of pain, and every discovery of his power. We will journey from the moment he was born, all the way to the moment he left this world. So please stay with me until the end, because I believe this will be one of the best stories you have ever heard, that will inspire you to work hard and to never, ever give up. Part 1. The Beginning of a Legend. Bruce Lee was born on November 27, 1940. He was born in San Francisco, California, in the USA. But wait, his birth was a little unusual. He was not born in a big modern hospital like most babies. He was born in a Chinese hospital right in the middle of America. At the time, his father was on a music tour. His father was a very famous opera singer from Hong Kong, and his name was Lee Hoi Chuen. Now here is something very interesting. Bruce Lee was born in the year of the dragon, and in the hour of the dragon, according to the Chinese calendar. In Chinese culture, this is considered very, very lucky. It is a sign of great power. People believed that a child born at this time would do something truly great in his life. And they were right. His Chinese name was Li Junfan. This name has a beautiful meaning. It means return again. His parents hoped that one day he would return to America and achieve something big. But Bruce did not grow up in the USA. Soon after he was born, his family traveled back to Hong Kong. And it was there, in the busy, vibrant streets of Hong Kong, that he spent his childhood. From the very beginning, Bruce was not a quiet child. Not at all. He was full of energy. He was always moving, always running, jumping, playing, and sometimes fighting. His parents used to look at him and say, "This boy is like a firecracker." He was just bursting with life. But he also had many physical problems. His right leg was actually shorter than his left leg. Think about that for a moment. The great Bruce Lee had one leg that was shorter than the other. This caused him to have some imbalance when he was walking, or especially when he was fighting. But he never ever gave up. He trained so hard to overcome this challenge. His eyesight was also very weak. Bruce could not see clearly without his glasses. Later in his life, he started using contact lenses, which were very new and rare at that time. So just imagine this for a second. The man who would later become the fastest and most famous fighter on the movie screen had poor eyesight and legs that were not perfectly even. Isn't that incredible? But these problems never stopped him. In fact, they seemed to make him stronger. They made him more determined. He trained harder than anyone else because he wanted to become unbeatable. He wanted to prove that nothing could hold him back. Because Bruce's father was an actor. Bruce got the chance to be in movies when he was very, very young. He acted in his first film when he was just 3 months old, a tiny baby on the screen. By the time he was a teenager, he had already acted in over 20 Chinese movies. But don't think that Bruce loved acting in the beginning. No. As a young boy, he was much more interested in fighting and dancing and in having fun with his friends. He was more of a street boy than a school topper. He often got into fights in the streets of Hong Kong. He was smart. He was sharp, but he was also a little bit wild and rebellious. When Bruce was 13 years old, something happened that changed his life forever. He got into a street fight, and this time he was badly beaten. He felt so ashamed and so angry. He felt helpless. His father saw this and decided, this has to stop. So his father introduced Bruce to a very special man named Ip Man. Ip Man was a master of a fighting style called Wing Chun Kung Fu. Bruce became a student of Wing Chun and started training under Master Ip Man. And he loved it. He finally found something that felt right, a place where all his energy could have a purpose. But there was a problem. Some of the other students in the school did not want to train with Bruce. This was because Bruce was part German from his mother's side. And these students believed that only pure Chinese people should be allowed to learn the secrets of Kung Fu. This must have hurt Bruce very deeply. To be rejected for who you are. It's a difficult thing for anyone to face, especially a young boy. But again, he did not stop. He did not quit. He used this pain. He turned it into fuel. He trained even harder. He practiced his kicks, his punches, his speed, his timing, and his movement day and night. Even as a teenager, he used to practice 500 punches every single day. He became so fast that people said they could not even see his hands when he moved them. That was the real beginning of the legend. As Bruce became stronger, his street fights also became more serious. He was winning these fights, but he was also starting to attract the attention of the police. His parents were very scared. They worried that he might get arrested, or even worse, that he might get killed in one of these fights. So when he was 18 years old, his father sat him down and said, "You must go back to America. Build your life there. Become something great." And that is when Bruce Lee said goodbye to Hong Kong. He got on a big ship, sailing to the USA with only $100 in his pocket. Part 2. The struggle begins in America. When Bruce Lee landed in the United States of America in 1959, he was just 18 years old. He arrived in Seattle, a city in the northwest of the country. Imagine arriving in a new, big country. The sounds are different. The faces are new, and you have only $100. That's not a lot of money, even back then. He had no rich family to help him, no big name to open doors. He just had a suitcase, a dream, and a burning confidence deep inside him. He didn't know what the future would bring. He had no clear plan, and he had no friends waiting for him. But one thing was clear in his mind: he would not give up. He believed in one thing more than anything else. He believed in himself. Bruce found a place to stay in a small room above a restaurant. That restaurant was owned by a Chinese family who knew his father. In return for the room, Bruce worked there. He washed dishes, he cleaned the floors, and he did all the small jobs that needed to be done. He was not treated like a star. He was just a young man who had come from another country trying to make his way. Every night after a long day of work, Bruce would train. He practiced his kicks and his punches even in that tiny little room. He had no gym, no special equipment, and no money for trainers. But he had discipline. Bruce also joined a school, Edison Technical School, to complete his high school education. Many of his classmates were white Americans. He had an accent, of course, and his English was not perfect yet. But he did not feel shy. He was confident, he was funny, and he was very sharp. He loved talking to people, he loved to dance, and he loved making jokes. And slowly, people started to notice him. not just for his smart brain, but for something else, his incredible speed. One day at school, he showed a classmate just how fast he could punch. He told the classmate to stand still. Before the classmate could even blink his eyes, Bruce's fingers were already there, just 1 inch away from his nose. That classmate was so amazed. He became Bruce's first American student. And from that small moment, Bruce's dreams started to grow. Bruce began teaching Kung Fu to students. He didn't just teach Chinese students. He taught white students, black students, and Asian students. Anyone who wanted to learn was welcome. But this was a big problem for the traditional Chinese martial arts teachers in America at that time. They believed that Kung Fu was a Chinese secret, and it should only be taught to Chinese people. One day, the Chinese martial arts community in the area gave Bruce a challenge. They said, "Fight one of our top fighters. If you lose, you must stop teaching non-Chinese students." Bruce looked at them and said, "Okay, let's fight." The fight happened in Oakland, California in 1964. Bruce fought against a man named Wang Jack Man, who was a very well-trained martial artist. Most people who were there expected a long, slow, traditional fight. But Bruce finished it in just a few minutes. He won, but he was not happy. Inside, Bruce was not celebrating. He felt disappointed. He thought to himself, "That fight was too slow. It took me too long. I was out of breath at the end." This is the mind of a true master, always looking to improve even in victory. After that fight, Bruce made a big decision, a very important decision. He said, "I will not follow traditional Kung Fu styles anymore. They are too rigid, too slow. I will create my own way, a style with no style." This was the birth of Jeet Kune Do, a new kind of martial arts that combined speed power and incredible flexibility. While Bruce was studying at the University of Washington, he met a beautiful American girl named Linda Emery. She was one of his Kung Fu students. Linda was smart, she was kind, and she had a very strong mind. She admired Bruce's powerful confidence and his amazing body and mind. They fell in love. But her family did not accept Bruce at first. They were worried because he was Chinese and she was American. In those days, this was not very common. Many people told her, "Don't marry him. He's not one of us." But Linda followed her heart. In 1964, she married Bruce Lee. They became a powerful team facing the world together. She supported Bruce in every step of his life, even when they had no money, and even when people rejected him. Later, they had 2 beautiful children, a son, Brandon Lee, born in 1965, and a daughter, Shannon Lee, born in 1969. By this time, Bruce Lee was becoming superhuman. Let me explain some of the things he could do. He could do 2-finger push-ups. Yes, he could do push-ups using only his thumb and 1 finger of one hand. He had something called the 1-inch punch. He could knock a grown man down with a punch that traveled only 1 inch. His speed was beyond imagination. He was so fast that when he started working in movies, the film directors had to slow down the camera footage. If they didn't, his moves were just a blur, invisible to the camera. In the US, a 130-kilogram wrestler once challenged Bruce to a fight. But after seeing Bruce's speed up close, the wrestler backed off. He said, "He's not human. I can't fight him." He had abs of steel. Bruce had almost 0 fat on his body. He had perfect 6-pack abs long before it became a popular trend. He trained for at least 4 to 5 hours every single day. Some days he would do 2,000 punches, 1,000 kicks, and hundreds of push-ups. He treated his body like a sacred temple. And guess what? He even had a small surgery to remove his underarm sweat glands. Why? Because he didn't want sweat marks to show up on his shirts on camera. He wanted to look perfect in his movies. But even with all this power, Hollywood rejected him. They said, "You're Asian. We need white heroes for our movies. You have an accent. Your eyes are small. America is not ready for a Chinese star." This was very frustrating for Bruce. It was a painful experience. He was stronger, faster, and more charismatic than any American actor at the time, but he was given only small side roles. He appeared in a TV show called The Green Hornet, where he played Kato, the hero's assistant. But the show didn't last long. Bruce was frustrated. He knew he had the talent to be a superstar, but nobody in Hollywood would give him a real chance. So what did he do? Did he give up? No. He said, "If America doesn't want me, I will go back to Asia. I will make my movies there, and the world will come to me." And that decision changed the world of cinema forever. He was not a small man asking for a chance. He was a storm about to arrive. He said, "I will show the world who I really am." So he packed his bags and returned to Hong Kong in 1971. But what happened when he arrived? Something completely unexpected and absolutely amazing. When Bruce returned to Hong Kong, he probably thought that people had forgotten him. But when he stepped out of the airport, he was shocked. Hundreds and hundreds of people were waiting for him. There were cameras, reporters, and so many fans. They were all shouting, "Kato, Kato!" Why? Because the American TV show, The Green Hornet, where he played Kato, had become a huge hit in Asia. The show had failed in America, but in Hong Kong, people loved it. In fact, they didn't even call it The Green Hornet. They called it The Kato Show. Bruce Lee was a superstar in Asia, and he didn't even know it. Now movie producers were calling him. They all wanted to make movies with him. And this time, he would be the hero. Bruce signed a contract with a film company in Hong Kong called Golden Harvest. His first movie was called The Big Boss. In America, it was called Fists of Fury. It was made with a very small budget, only about $100,000. The camera was simple, the locations were cheap, and the story was very basic. But Bruce Lee, he was electric. In this movie, he plays a quiet man who makes a promise to never fight again. But when his friends are killed by criminals, he has no choice. He fights back, and he destroys everyone in his path. When this movie was released, it broke all box office records in Hong Kong. People were standing up and screaming in the movie theaters. They watched it again and again. Bruce Lee became a true legend overnight. Now the whole world was starting to watch. Bruce's second film was Fist of Fury, which was also called The Chinese Connection in America. This time, he didn't just fight for revenge. He fought for his country, for his pride, and against racism. There is one very powerful scene in this movie. Bruce walks to a park, and there is a sign outside. The sign says, "No dogs and Chinese allowed." He looks at the sign. He looks at the guard. Then he jumps into the air and with a powerful kick, smashes the wooden sign into pieces. The theater exploded with applause. For many Asian people who were treated badly for years, this scene was like a revolution. Bruce Lee was showing them, "We are not weak. We will rise." The movie was a massive hit, even bigger than The Big Boss. People all around the world started to notice Bruce Lee. Even Hollywood started watching him again. Bruce didn't just want to act. He wanted to have control over the story, the camera, the editing, everything. So for his next movie, Way of the Dragon, Bruce became the writer, the director, the producer, and the main actor. He even composed the music for the film. In this movie, Bruce plays a Chinese man who travels to Rome, Italy, to help a family whose restaurant is under attack by gangsters. But the most legendary scene in this movie is the final fight. It is Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris in the ancient Colosseum of Rome. Chuck Norris was a real-life karate champion from America. The fight was slow, intense, brutal, and beautiful. It wasn't just a fight. It was like watching a beautiful, dangerous dance. Bruce showed pain, emotion, and incredible power. He defeated Chuck with honor, and at the end he even covered his opponent's body with a cloth as a sign of respect. That scene is still called one of the greatest martial arts fights in movie history. Let's pause here for a moment and talk about Bruce's daily training. This will truly blow your mind. Bruce treated his body like a scientific machine. Here's what he did almost every day: 5,000 punches, 2,000 kicks, 400 push-ups, running 6 kilometers daily, stretching for 2 hours, skipping rope weightlifting meditation. He also practiced with nunchaku and special wooden dummies. He trained for 5 to 6 hours a day, every single day. He kept a notebook where he wrote down his weight, his exercises, his diet, and all his thoughts. He believed, if you love life, don't waste time because time is what life is made of. He could stop a punch just 1 inch before it hit someone's nose. He was so fast he could take a coin from your open hand before you could close your fist. He could do push-ups using only 1 finger. Even scientists studied his body. They said his muscles were like coiled steel wires. He was a real-life superhero. After his 3 huge hit movies in Asia, Hollywood finally came back to him. They said, "Okay, Bruce, let's work together." He signed a deal to make Enter the Dragon, his first big American movie, where he would be the main star. This movie was huge. It had a big budget, international locations, and amazing action sequences. Bruce played a martial artist who enters a secret tournament to stop a powerful drug lord. He used his Jeet Kune do, he used nunchaku, and he even fought a man who had a hand made of steel. His performance was powerful, emotional, and stylish. He was like a tiger set free. But something tragic happened. Just before this movie's release in 1973, Bruce Lee was at a friend's house. He complained of a bad headache. He took a painkiller, laid down to rest, and he never woke up. Doctors said he died of a brain swelling, a cerebral edema. But to this day, people still don't know the exact reason. Part 3. The Legend That Never Dies. Bruce Lee was only 32 years old when he died. It's hard to even imagine. So much energy, so much life. Gone in a moment. But what he gave to the world in those 32 years was more powerful than what many people give in 100 years. After his mysterious death in 1973, the world stood still. People could not believe the news. Some cried, some were angry. Some were just in shock. How could he die so soon? He was so strong. He looked like a superhero, but Bruce Lee was gone. Just 6 days after Bruce died, his movie Enter the Dragon was released. And when people watched it, they didn't just see a movie. They saw his last gift to the world. It became a global hit, earning over $350 million worldwide. And you have to remember, this was in the 1970s, a time when movie ticket prices were very, very low. People in America, Asia, Europe, Africa, everywhere, were watching Bruce Lee and falling in love with him. His face was on magazines, posters, newspapers, and books. His movies were shown in theaters again and again. Because Bruce Lee died so suddenly and so young, people started making their own theories about his death. Some people said he was killed by the Chinese mafia. Others said he was poisoned because he revealed secret martial arts techniques to the West. Some even said there was a family curse. Even today, some people believe he did not die naturally. But the official doctor's report said it was a brain swelling possibly caused by a reaction to a painkiller called equagesic. His death will always be a little bit of a mystery. But one thing is very clear: his spirit never died. Bruce Lee was more than just a fighter. He was a deep thinker, a philosopher, and a writer. He read thousands of books on psychology, motivation, spirituality, and martial arts. He wrote down his own notes, his thoughts, and his lessons. Here are some of his most powerful life teachings. First, he said, "Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless like water." He explained, if you put water in a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend. What did he mean by this? He meant don't be rigid. Don't be stuck in one way of thinking. Be flexible. Be calm when you need to be, and be powerful when you need to be. Adjust to life flow with it. Second, he taught us, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. This is such a powerful lesson about focus. Don't chase too many things at once. Instead, master one thing. Bruce believed in practice, repetition, and discipline. He focused deeply. He trained daily, and he became perfect at what he did. He taught us that consistency is more powerful than talent. Third, he said, knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. This means don't just read or think about things. You must take action. You must practice. You must apply what you learn. Reading books about push-ups won't make you strong. Doing the push-ups will. Watching English videos won't make you fluent. Speaking, writing, and practicing will. And fourth, he advised, absorb what is useful. Discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own. Bruce believed that we should learn from everything, but we should not just copy. We should take what helps us, leave behind what doesn't, and then create our own unique way. That's how he created Jeet Kune, his own martial art. He didn't follow only one style. He studied many styles: boxing, kung fu, fencing, taekwondo, and he made a new way that was fast, simple, and direct. Bruce wrote many books, journals, and letters. Some of his most famous books are Tao of Jeet Kune, which explains his martial arts philosophy, and Bruce Lee, Artist of Life, which contains his thoughts on life, fear, self-discipline, and success. In these books, you don't just see a fighter, you see a poet, a philosopher, and a warrior of the mind. After Bruce's death, his wife Linda raised their 2 children with love and great strength. Tragically, sadness would visit the Lee family again. Brandon Lee, his son, followed in his father's path. He became a talented actor and martial artist. But in 1990, during the filming of the movie The Crow, he was accidentally shot and killed on the set. Just like his father, he was gone too soon. Today, you can find statues of Bruce Lee all over the world. In Hong Kong's Avenue of Stars in Bosnia, yes, even in Europe, in Los Angeles, and in Seattle. Museums keep his clothes, his nunchaku, his handwritten letters, and even his old punching bag. People still visit his grave in Seattle, where his son Brandon is buried beside him. The stone on his grave reads, Founder of Jeet Kune. Your inspiration continues to guide us toward our personal liberation. Before Bruce Lee, Asian men in movies were often shown as weak, quiet, or funny side characters. But Bruce Lee showed them as powerful, proud, and strong heroes. He made martial arts a global phenomenon. He inspired millions of people to train their bodies, to fight for their beliefs, to think deeper, and to grow as people. Even today, famous stars like Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Donnie Yen and Keanu Reeves all say that Bruce Lee was their biggest inspiration. Even UFC fighters, the modern-day warriors, say they learned from Bruce. He is often called the father of mixed martial arts because his way was not just about one style, it was about freedom and self-expression. Bruce Lee is gone, but his voice, his words, and his actions still live inside millions of people. He didn't just teach us how to fight, he taught us how to live. He didn't just punch with his hands, he punched through fear, he punched through laziness, and he punched through limits. Even though he became a big movie star, Bruce Lee lived a simple, focused, and powerful life. Here is what his typical day looked like. In the morning, he would wake up early around 6:30 a.m. The first thing he did was stretching and meditation. He believed that a calm mind creates a strong body. Then he would go running for 4 to 5 miles, about 8 kilometers. Rain or shine, tired or not, he ran. After that, he would do his exercises, push-ups, pull-ups, crunches, and kicks. In the afternoon, he would often be training his students in Jeet Kune. He would also spend hours reading books about philosophy, psychology, and martial arts. He was always writing down his ideas, his goals, his lessons, and his dreams. In the evening, he would spend time with his family. He loved playing with his children, Brandon and Shannon. He would laugh with them and just be a father. Sometimes he would work on his movies or scripts late into the night. He lived every day like it was his last. He did not waste time. He did not wait for tomorrow. He used his body, his mind, and his heart every single day. Many people say, "I can't do this. I'm not smart enough. I don't have time. I'm too tired." But Bruce Lee believed that there is no limit, only the limit that you believe in your own mind. He said, "Don't say, 'I wish.' Say, 'I will.' Don't wait for the right time. Make the time right. Don't try to be perfect. Try to be real." He believed in hard work, in focus, in self-belief, and in inner peace. That is why, even today, people remember him more than other actors or fighters. Because he spoke the truth, he lived the truth, and he became his truth. So what can we learn from Bruce Lee? One, start where you are. Bruce had health problems. He was rejected by movie producers. He faced racism. People sometimes laughed at his accent. But did he stop? No. He trained harder. He improved himself. He created his own way. The lesson is, you don't need a perfect start. You just need to start with what you have right now. 2. Believe in yourself even if no one else does. When nobody in Hollywood gave him a lead role, he went and wrote his own movies. When other people were just copying the old styles, he created his own art, Jeet Kune. The lesson is, the world may doubt you, but you must never, ever doubt yourself. 3. Use pain as power. He had a very serious back injury in 1970. Doctors told him, "You may never kick again." He did not give up. For 6 months, he had to lie in bed. But he didn't just lie there in sadness. He read, he wrote, he planned his future. He visualized his comeback. He returned stronger than he was before. The lesson is, your pain is not the end. It is a chance to grow. 4. Live with purpose. Bruce said, "The key to immortality is first living a life worth remembering." He didn't just live for money or for fame. He wanted to express himself honestly. He said, "I don't want to be just a man who acts or fights. I want to be a man who truly lives." The lesson here is, don't just chase success. Chase your purpose, your truth, your best version of yourself. And 5. Keep learning always. Bruce was a forever student. He read books, he learned new languages, he explored new ideas. He said, Learning is never cumulative. It is a movement of knowing which has no beginning and no end. The lesson is never think, "I know enough." Always say to yourself, "I am still learning." If Bruce Lee were alive today, I think he would look at you and say, "You are stronger than you think. You have a fire inside you. Don't waste it. Don't wait. Don't be afraid. Create your own path. Be like water. Flow, crash, and shine." And he would smile. Not because you are perfect, but because you are trying, because you are growing, because you are not giving up. This is not just Bruce Lee's story. In a way, this is your story too. It is the story of pain and purpose, of fear and courage, of rejection and return, of struggle and strength. Now it's your time to stand up and write your own story. If this story inspired you, if it made you feel powerful, if it made you love English and love life just a little bit more, then I invite you to subscribe to our channel. Because here, you don't just learn English. You learn how to live, how to think, how to become powerful, and how to rise when you fall. Every single day, we bring you motivational stories, life-changing lessons. English that is easy and beautiful, and a journey that can change your heart. This is not just learning. This is transformation. One last time, let's remember this. Be like Bruce Lee. Live honestly, speak clearly, train hard, love deeply, think freely, never give up, and never stop learning. Because legends like Bruce Lee never die, and neither will your dream.